At the heart of QuickBase is an email workflow engine. In addition to manually sending form or report emails, people use QuickBase automation to notify people when things happen, remind them of sensitive due dates, and distribute automatic reports with subscriptions. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to describe the workflow options within QuickBase, email forms and reports, create, edit, and manage email notifications, email reminders, and email subscriptions. Let's get started. Although not technically part of the 3 email workflow automations, sending a copy of a form or report manually serves many day-to-day needs. If we are on a form, we can click on Email, and the same goes for reports. This is a spontaneous way of sending emails manually. Now let's get on to the automation options. There are 3 types of email-based automation built into QuickBase: email notifications, reminders, and subscriptions. So let's take a look at email notifications first. Email notifications, also referred to as record change notifications, only get triggered when a record is changed and saved. Let's open a record, change a field, and save. This is the type of event that you would use to send a record change notification. Notice in the upper right I'm receiving an email. Let's click on it and view what it looks like. This is a default notification. The subject is giving us an idea of what it is, and the text at the top summarizes what's changed. By default, QuickBase includes a link to the record and a copy of the changed record. Note that the items that have changed are red. Every table has its own settings link, and behind that we find notifications, subscriptions, and reminders. Let's view the basic record change notification. Here we can see how it is configured, its name, to whom we notify, the circumstances under which it's triggered, the type, what is displayed in the email subject line, and by default it's formatted as HTML and it includes a copy of the task. This is a very basic notification that's triggered whenever and by whomever that changes anything on the record. Let's create a new notification that'll notify me when a task is completed. I'm going to exit settings so we can find our way back here again. We're on the task table homepage. We click on settings and select notifications, subscriptions, and reminders. We click add new email, and by default notifications is highlighted. We click create, and this takes us to the configuration page. There are 2 types of notifications. The first is recipient, emails sent to users with access, and the second is open, emails sent openly to anyone. We'll keep the default and name this notification Tasks Completed Notification or Task Completed Notification. Under Notify Whom, we'll leave it as me, but you can select all the users, a specific list of users, and a bunch of options including any user with access to this application. Had we selected Open Emails Sent Openly to Anyone, we could insert any email address or field name that's been formatted as an email address. We'll use recipient emails sent to users with access and leave me to be notified. Next, we'll want to be notified when the record is modified, but only when a specific field's status, and only when that status is equal to completed. Notice that you can hover over conditions and insert additional conditions. You can delete them. You can create many different ands and or conditions. Next, we'll insert into the email subject task completed and hover over fields and markers, scroll down and select last modified by and click save. This notification has now been added to the other email notifications, and whenever a record is changed, QuickBase runs through the active email notifications for matching conditions. Notice you can turn these emails on and off right here. You can copy them and delete them too. If you wish, you can highlight multiple notifications and control them all at once. If a user or creator is no longer on the app's user access list, the recipient will change to red. If you're the application manager, you can designate someone else to be the owner of an email notification, reminder, or subscription. Let's exit settings and select a task that isn't completed and edit it. If we change the status to completed, we will receive 2 email notifications. The first, because anytime a task is modified, it is notifying us, and the second one is that we're notified whenever the task is completed. Now let's create a custom email notification. From the tasks tables, we'll click on Settings, and then click on Add an email notification. Let's click Create. We'll call this email notification Custom Notice and leave me as the notify whom. We'll leave when the task is modified, and in this notification, let's select Custom Message under the message type. In the subject line, let's add Custom Message from with a colon, Custom Message from, and then hover over the fields and markers, and we'll scroll down to find Last Modified By and make a selection there. And let's go into the body of the email where we can insert custom text and use field names to insert what we want the message to say, like project colon, we'll put a space, and we'll hover over fields and markers and grab project name. We'll hit enter and move to the next line, and on this next line let's enter tasks and go over to fields and markers, scroll down to find tasks and put that in there. And click enter again, and then we'll, on the new line, what we'll do is we'll hover over fields and markers, and this time scroll way down until we find a link to the changed record. And if we want to, we can make another line, and we can also insert a copy of the changed record. What does the copy of the changed record look like? It looks like the default form. If you're using custom forms, however, you can select an alternative form to be used for emailing purposes. If you want, you can click Yes next to the Interpret Custom Message as HTML and use full HTML tags and graphics. Next, click on Advanced Options, where we can decide if we want the form to be used for single record entry, multiple record changes, like import, or both. We'll use only when a single task changes. We can change the from email address from the default notify@quickbase.com to one of the users on your application's user list. If you don't find your users listed there, make sure that your account administrator has opened a support case requesting your email domain be associated with your account. I think we're about done, so let's click Save. And now when your records change, our email notifications are customized. Another email automation option is Reminder. Reminders are date-sensitive emails that are sent daily, usually between 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. Eastern Time overnight. Let's create one. From a table, let's say click Settings and then Add, and then select Reminder and Create. Here we can define the conditioning and messaging for the reminder. Let's name the reminder Task Due. Task Due, and select who's being reminded. Let's select Assign To. We want them to be reminded 5 days before the start date, but only if the status field is not completed. We can also customize the email subject line and the messages to be sent out. Like the email notification, you can also select an alternate from email address. Let's click Save. The same options apply where you can deactivate and activate reminders. You can copy them and delete them. If you spend hours each week compiling spreadsheets of data all to create reports, you're going to love subscriptions. Subscriptions are automated ways of disseminating reports without having to recreate them each time. There are a couple of ways to create subscriptions. Let's first say that we're on a report that we like My Open Tasks, and we want this sent to us each day. We click on More, and then New Subscription. And here we are at a configuration screen. Let's say we call the report My Open Tasks. And if I want it daily, all I have to do is click Save and I'll get it daily. But what if I only want it on Monday and Wednesday? I can select the days I want and click Save, and I'll get it on Monday and Wednesday. What if I want to share this report with other people? I can select all users with access or select the roles that I want to receive the subscription. If I leave this Send an Email even if there are no records found for this report unchecked, users will only receive this email if there are open tasks. Like the other email options, we select the From email address and customize the email subject line and message body. Subscriptions like reminders are sent daily and are usually sent between 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. Eastern Time. A unique function of subscriptions worth noting is that if you select the report with some filter criteria like My Open Tasks and share it with everyone, not everyone has open tasks. Only those that have open tasks will receive the email, and they will only see their own tasks. The other way of creating subscriptions is by clicking on a table, and then on Settings, New, and select Subscription and Create. In this lesson, we learned how to describe the workflow options within QuickBase, email forms and reports, create, edit, and manage email notifications, email reminders, and email subscriptions. This concludes this lesson.